Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome to the last episode of this Let's Play series, or this season of Sim Airport. Let's Play season of Sim Airport. I'm gonna, in this episode, what I'm gonna do is we'll get things rolling again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through what we've done, how we've planned this out, and so on. But basically this airport is now finished. I've learned a number of lessons in this airport, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'll do in the next season that follows. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So we've got a check-in area, and because this was the first real multi-level, wow, that's a big bunch of people coming in through here, huh? Doing their check-in, doing that. Okay, so because this is the first multi-level, immediately now you had to, in this update, we needed to run baggage underground. So that's a big part of it. So we've got baggage running to baggage hubs, and then baggage depots. That's airside. So they run underground here to baggage hub, feeds into the depots, and above ground the vehicles come and collect the baggage and drop the baggage from the depots into the planes. Okay, so what we did is we started out with something fairly small, and we've added this a little bit, and to be honest, this is probably the only part of this airport that I'm not quite happy with is this check-in area. I think we need, in the future, what I'll do is I'll do much more check-in. I don't like dealing with too many of these ticketing kiosks. I'd like to see more of these desks. So in the next one we will definitely look into getting that to work a little bit better. But over here basically we've got the first class check-in queue, and then just the coach check-in queues, numerous of them, and I also don't like the idea that they're spread out like that and in different areas and so on. And then from here, once you've checked in, you then get fed up into the secure you get fed up, yeah, of course. After a crowd like this you probably will get fed up. So then you feed up using either the escalator or the various pairs of stairs, and oh my goodness, did we have trouble with people getting stuck under this escalator we had over here, up into the security area. So here we've got an enormous security area. I don't think I've ever seen a security area the size of this at any airport. So especially, let alone a small one like this. Okay, so here the feeding up from the check-in area. I don't like what we're seeing over here, just random people just going to join queues over there somewhere, so I'm not quite keen on that. This whole thing should actually be enclosed, and maybe that is what we need to do. So maybe let me quickly grab a wall, and we'll try and do a little bit like that to try and sort things out. Actually, let's cancel that project and instead do it right over there. And I need to get the security section, and I'll just add that back into security. Okay, so we'll try and see if that doesn't help, that the whole thing don't walk up there kind of thing. So then they go through security, and I'm making use of these remote bag scanners so that there's a less staffing requirement, which is basically, I think, the only thing that this does that helps. So this guy is checking all of these, and that guy at the top over there is checking all of those. So getting through, go to the ID check. Wow, these queues are a little bit hefty now. Getting through the ID check stands, going through the remote bag scanners, and then through the body scanners. And then they make their way into the, shall we say, departure kind of lounge gate area. More the gate area than the departure lounge, because in this instance what I've done is I've basically split the levels, but we'll get to that now. So how's this set up? So here I started out with two small plane stands, small gates, added up the large gates over here. Then at the very end we've got the extra large gates, and we've got the more large gates on the other side. So it's basically on both sides, airlines traveling around it, or planes traveling around it. We've got the two runways over here. We've got this one, which is the short one, and the long one over here to accommodate the big planes, the really big planes, not just the big planes, the really big planes. Okay, and then over here we've got at each gate we've got gate agent desks. usually about 2. This one we only have the 1 because of space, and I've always scheduled the smaller planes over here. And then there's 2 over there, and the setup I usually do is 2 that both feed coach, and the 1 that actually does both the first class as well with the coach. They have some basic newsstands and vending machines and the likes over here with some seating. All of these areas of nice kind of viewing decks with large windows everywhere, and this is the kind of same pattern that's repeated all the way up along this side. Over on this side I've got the XL, the extra large plane stands or gates, and for each one of them I have 3 gate agents, a gate agent desk, just to make sure that we can get the amount of people through there a little bit quicker, because they typically are larger planes that can take up to 500 people, so we need to be able to accommodate that. Our queues are also a little bit longer to accommodate that. The first class section I think in this area is a little bit too long, given that we go from a short one like that to a long one like this. I think that's probably a little bit too long, but anyway, it is still working, and I've kind of squeezed in a few bits and pieces as well as seating wherever I can. Yeah, this area is maybe a little bit unnecessary, but I didn't want to change the shape too much. So here we've got a big 787 coming to gate C1. I think it's a screw that's hanging out over here, and then it'll go through from there. Okay, so that's it. I'm also making use of the cool new feature of the moving walkways over here, so I try and get people to their gates as quickly as possible by making use of the moving walkways. So you can clearly see they go a little bit quicker if they're on the moving walkway as opposed to just walking over here. Okay, so that's kind of a good thing. But we can also see over here, oh, and just one more thing that I kind of forgot to mention. So what I've done with the multi-level is I actually used the gate to split it over here. So passengers disembarking or deplaning can go to the left and go down towards the exit. Passengers then boarding starts to board from here, comes in here and boards the plane. So effectively they can interact in this space over here, but generally they don't. And it's been working quite well. We had a number of issues with people pathing in the wrong way and people repathing through the baggage area and coming back through security and being delayed in such a way, but generally that's what we're doing. So we've kind of separating them. They're going down towards the exit while the new people boarding the plane is coming in from this side, and I think that's quite a clean setup and very similar to what you would see at most airports. Okay, so that's basically this area, and the same concept is kind of all the way around. We've got a 747 over here, a oldie but a big one. How much people do we have on that one? Can I see? Not sure how many there is, but anyway. So that kind of is what's going on, and the same concept in terms of gate is used all around. We're using escalators everywhere, and escalators are quite pricey in this game. Okay, so now if I then go to the lower level, so as we see, so these people that's getting off of planes over here, as you can see over there, coming down the escalators from the gate, they are using moving walkways and the likes to kind of feed them all the way out over there, but we will get back to that. So but I'm firstly want today, so this is the second level, and you've got these escalators and stairs and so on going down. And now I'm basically just making better use of the space. Given that we've got multi-levels now, we can make better use of the space. So the terminal can actually look a little bit more like a terminal area. This is the kind of area that you would typically expect to see in an airport. Then at a different level, you would find a lot of other things like lounges, extra bathrooms. Bathrooms you would also find on the same level, but kind of a food court area, the first class lounge, the cafes and all those kind of things. So we've got basically an expanded departure lounge, especially for those that's in transit or so on, that's not quite actually at the gate all the time, hanging out in this kind of area over here. We're making use of PA systems, and I think these may not be linked up to an amplifier system, but the whole thing with the PA system, I'll just quickly run through that in a bit. Okay, so basically that is our area. So basically all the other amenities is almost shared between all the gates at this lower exiting level. So you can see those guys are disembarking over there and feeding their way through to the baggage claim. Okay, so then what we move on to is, on their way out they go to the baggage claim. There's again some restrooms available, and people come and collect their bags, and then they make their way to pickup. At pickup we've got bus services picking up, taxis and cars picking up, as well as the LRT station over here, and it is able to board quite a number of people. Okay, 250 per shot. So that in general. Over here also we've got some offices for our executives. So, and that in short is kind of the airport and the airport operation. So I think the thing that I am most proud of, or what I think is most realistic about this airport, is the complete separation between outbound passengers and inbound passengers, or departing passengers and arriving passengers, with the arriving passengers going down onto the ground floor level immediately, making their way out along the moving walkways and to the baggage claim area, and they don't mix with the the departing passengers on this level over here. So I think, or well, the departing passengers can also be down here in the lounges and other amenities, but then they don't mix. So this, you can see they are completely separate with a wall structure around that. And this, I think, is something as oddly is reminiscent of many airports around the world. You would see this double kind of system, the two to three levels that you would typically see, and they are separated between arriving passengers and departing passengers. So that is basically the setup over here. The wall was built here. I hope we don't see a lot of people still walking through here. Let's check this guy out as he comes through here. I just want to quickly check before it's the end of the day and we don't see any more people. How's he gonna do it? Now doing a decent walk in the right direction. Okay, so that is basically the operation. Now let's go and look at airside a little bit. So I've kind of set the gates, so the taxiway is on this side, and some of the lessons that I've learned over here is if you have just a single taxiway like this, okay, then they kind of get stuck amongst each other and so on. So, but if you have an arrangement like this that we see over here, they can quite easily do two directions at the same time, and they can pass each other and all those kind of good things, which I think is something that you should definitely be bearing in mind. The other thing we also learned, or that is fairly new on this latest update, is that you get an airline bonus. So let's have a quickly look at the cash flow, not the cash flow, the profits and loss. Airline fees terminated. What? Don't know why that happened. I didn't get a message or anything. That might be something worth looking into, is that you don't know what's going on. But anyway, if you have all your planes on time, then what happens is you get an airline bonus for on-time bonus, and that thing keeps building and building. Every day you can add, if every day you add you maintain the on-time status, that thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger and starts growing exponentially. But generally that's it. So operation wise, check-in, security, into the departure lounge, incoming flights, spits people out of here at the gate, and they go straight down the escalator and into the arrival section. So they'll be coming down here. Here they come, coming down here using the moving walkways and making their way towards baggage claim, ready for collection. See, all the way. Good. So that's the operation. I think we did a good job to put this together. It's not perfect, we're still getting some delays, and there's some issues with pathing. So something I had a lot of problems with is people just kind of coming upstairs, going through security, and then coming down here without actually going to a plane, because they wanted to go to the bathroom over here, or there was a vending machine over here that they wanted to use. So that kind of thing, a little bit of better control of the secure and non-secure areas would be a good thing, and maybe not allowing people to path through secure areas, or from secure areas to non-secure areas back to secure areas. That's a little bit of a silly arrangement. Happy for them to path from secure to non-secure if that's where they want to go, but if if your destination is in a secure area, you shouldn't path from secure back to non-secure and then back to secure. That's just kind of the silly part of it. So that's kind of it. That's the setup. So this is the setup. It works very well. Some of the other things is you effectively cannot operate an airport bigger of this size without at least 2 runways, and in reality you would easily be able to do that. And the reason that there is a problem is if you look at the scheduling over here, they are very rigid. So if you want to start moving it, they move in 15-minute intervals, and that's it. Okay, 15-minute intervals, and that's it. Even if you extend it and so on, it's all those jumps are 15-minute jumps, and that is crazy. Why can't they be 5-minute, 1-minute jumps? Or why can't you schedule that in a little bit more detail? So the problem with that is now I've got a situation where if you want to squeeze in 2 planes onto a large gate or whatever, you kind of have a limited arrival slot. So there's probably a 30 minutes to 45 minutes of arrival slot over here, and the same goes on all your gates. So you basically have about an 45 minutes, maybe an hour arrival slot in each time frame. So all our evening flights will pretty much be arriving, or maybe not all, but 80% of them will be arriving in the 6 p.m. slot. Same with the midday, practically 80% of them will be arriving at this noon slot, and the same thing in the morning. And if you split up into 2, you've got a 6 a.m. and an 8 a.m. rush hour. If you split up here, you've got a 12 and a 2 or 3 rush hour, and the same thing as that. And that's silly. Why can't we have someone that arrives at 10 a.m. and leaves at noon? If your slot is supposed to be, it should either be by arrival or departure, right? And if it's by departure, all you need is to have it in that departure area. So what would be very handy is if we could have someone that arrives here towards the end of the 10 a.m. hour and then departs here towards the end of the noon slot. That kind of thing would help. Even if you still maintain the 15 minutes, the 15-minute jumps, but you allow the overlap, that would be quite good. Alternatively, or to make it even better, is if you then reduce those jumps from 15 minutes to maybe 5 minutes or 1 minute. In most airports, at least, you would see it minute by minute arrivals. And so in Dubai, for instance, there is at the Dubai International Airport, you would see a plane arriving or departing every 90 seconds on the runway. And they only have 2 runways at that airport, and they have numerous gates, many gates, probably, I have no idea what the exact number is, but probably 100 to 120 gates like this. And that's not even counting the gates that are or the plane stands that are not connected to the terminal where you are bused. So certainly this is an unrealistic way of doing it due to the scheduling. So I'm hoping that at some point that scheduling stuff becomes a little bit better. Okay, now, since those are my kind of key findings about it and what I've seen here, it's still very enjoyable and I do like it. It's come a long way since it's been released, this game, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm keen to see where it goes from here. I'm also still a big fan of the other one, Airport CEO, and I'm keen to get back to that once it's received some good updates. So what's next for Sim Airport and ExactChaos? So I think someone has mentioned in the comments that they would like to see a go at the Dubai International Airport, and I think that is a great idea. So I will, in my next season, try and do not a replica of, but a Dubai International Airport inspired airport. For that one, I'm going to do a bit of a sandbox so that we don't have the burdens of the money as much, because it's going to be a pricey operation to get that started. It's not in this instance, I don't know if you remember, we started out with like 1 gate in a little corner like this. The airport was about this size right here, as I was showing with the mouse now, right? This little L shape over here, and we had the 1 gate, and that was the way we started the operation and slowly build up the cash to build this sizable terminal. So if we want to try and do that while we're trying to build a Dubai International inspired airport, we're going to run out of cash way too quickly. So I'm going to do that as a bit of a sandbox mode. So yes, I will probably give it a couple of weeks before I start that one, but that's what I'm gonna do. So you have an idea. It's a multi-level airport, so this will be quite good, in which you have a terminal setup that looks similar to this, but rotated in the other direction. Okay, so you pass through, you go underground, and you've got airplanes parking on all sides. So I'll get a little bit of detail together and I'll show you that when I start the next series. So that is where I'm gonna put an end to this season. I would like to thank you so much. The support for this season has been quite good. People are, I mean, you guys have been watching it from the start to the end. Had some very good views on it and some good comments and interaction and lots of likes and so on. So I do appreciate your support on this quite a lot. As always, if you did like it, please hit that like button. I further appreciate that support. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this airport, this final product. I also did see someone asking whether I can actually post this airport. I'll have a look into that. If I can find where I can save this or post it, I'll put a link in the description. But anyway, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, so and if you've got some comments on the next series that I'm planning, please leave them in the comments down below. If you'd like to see some more things like that, leave the comments down below before I started, so I can take into account what you're saying. And yes, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye bye.